people, of course, see me traveling and, oh, I'm in Indonesia, I'm in Egypt, I'm in Spain. And they're like, what in the world? Like, how do you do this? Well, there are a few tricks to this. So if you're still paying maybe student loans or you're paying off something in your home country, then definitely look for.
Hello, we're back with another interview, and I'm so excited to introduce Jamie of ESL 365. Hello, Jamie.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So, a little bit about Jamie. Jamie's actually one of my former clients. So, she went through my YouTube program and she has just blown up. I've been so amazed watching all of your progress. So, Jamie, tell us a little bit about what your channel is and what you do.
Sure. So I actually live in Australia right now. I've lived in a few different countries and I've traveled and taught English abroad. So I love helping people do the same. I've just really loved moving from country to country and learning new languages, experiencing different cultures, and using English has always been a way to do that. And I think that it's a great way to live a bit of an adventurous life.
I love that. Yeah, say the slogan, right? Whether you 365 days, what's the slogan again?
Yeah, so the idea behind my name, ESL Teacher 365, is that you can spend 365 days abroad as an English teacher. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah, I love it. So Jamie is like the teach and travel guru, truly. And not only that, like you're a scholarship guru too. Like, and you speak how many languages?
Um, I've
If you have
got,
to say you speak a lot of languages.
well, Spanish is the one I started with, and then I lived in Egypt, so Egyptian Arabic, did some French, learned in France, and then took some classes, tried to do Portuguese, but that, well, didn't, it was still a little too confusing, but now I'm working on Italian. So that's my current
Wow.
language.
You're amazing. You're amazing. Okay, and what to just kind of give you like an inside look of Jamie too. Jamie once applied for she got a scholarship when she studied or she taught abroad in Egypt, right? And she did her interview in Arabic after she hadn't even been learning Arabic that long. So Jamie just like super smart, really interesting. She also does pole dancing classes. She's like if you could think of someone that's just has does every single thing and you're so interesting, you've had all these travel stories. I'm so stoked to talk to you today. So if you are a teacher and you are ready to start teaching and traveling and you really want to get overseas, Jamie is your girl. And we're going to go through some questions. I'm going to timestamp the questions down below too if you want to kind of sort through, but she is a wealth of knowledge. Definitely check out her channel. And let's dive into the first question.
All right.
Okay, so first we want to know how many countries have you lived and taught English in?
Okay, so I've lived in 6 different countries, if I include the US, because I also worked as a teacher there. I've taught both English and dance abroad. So,
Cool,
yes,
yeah.
teaching English is super popular, but I think that you can also teach other things as well. So, keep that in mind. I started out in Costa Rica when I was still in college. I went during the summer on a grant from my college, and I worked as an English and dance teacher there. So this was before I had my college degree. I think a lot of people are curious about going abroad, but maybe they don't have a degree or they don't have a degree yet, but it is possible. So after that, I did substitute teaching in the US after completing my student teaching. And that's when I got that scholarship to go to Egypt. So there I was actually studying Arabic, but I did teach some English on the side as well as I was part of a dance company and I taught dance there as well. So after that, because I got evacuated because of the whole Egyptian revolution thing, I had to
Yeah.
kind of quickly choose another country. So I went to the States for a month or so, got a new visa. Then I went to France and I taught in some summer camps there and then decided to do my master's in education in Spain. And that's where I kind of stayed for 5 years. I did different programs. So they have language assistant programs there. So I did one of those as part of my master's degree. So it's called a teach and learn program. So that's another option if you're interested in studying and working as an English teacher at the same time. Then after that, I worked in 2 different language assistant programs, got a job at an American school in Madrid, And then I met my partner and we decided to move to Australia together, where I worked as an English teacher again, this time in 2 different language schools on a work holiday visa. And then he got sponsored so I could stay as well. And we've been here ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and the cool thing too that you've done is like, I love that you said you don't necessarily have to just teach English, right? Like you found a way to also teach dance. That's really cool. Okay, I know this is like a little off of topic, but how would you suggest people, if they are like, they have a talent like in the arts or, you know, something specific that they love and they want to teach, how do you go about doing something like that?
Yeah, there are actually visas for artists. So you can look into doing projects or even teaching abroad with your talent, I guess you could say, if you're a
Oh,
musician
cool.
or artist or dancer. So there are opportunities for that as well. There's also the Fulbright scholarship, and they allow you to work in another country for around a year, and that is talent-based as well. So yeah, if you have any questions about grants, I also know a lot about grants abroad. So there's just so many opportunities out there, but people don't know about them or they don't take the time to look, but there's a lot available.
Right. And that's where you come in. So
Yes.
can you tell us like a little bit? So that's what we worked on when in my program is like really kind of honing in on your niche and your offer. So what is it that you offer to people?
Yeah, so I help people who maybe it's their first time teaching abroad or going abroad and they're not really sure how to find a program or what to expect. So if you're, feeling a bit nervous and overwhelmed and there's just so many places to go, then I can help you kind of sort that out, apply to different programs and really know what to expect. Or if maybe you're changing your career, imagine that you were working in a bank or something and now you've decided, I want to travel. I can help you with that as well. So there are opportunities if you want to change your adventurous lifestyle as
Yeah.
well. And so I do offer coaching and consulting. So just depending on whatever your needs are.
Yeah, and Jamie's awesome. Actually, I had a consultation with Jamie when I still am looking into, I really want to go to Korea. And so she was helping me kind of think of like what programs, if I did want to teach English. And she gave me a whole list of kind of ABC, what to do. And this is this option, this is this option. So like she takes out all the guesswork that comes with if you don't know a lot about that country. Well, Jamie's probably been there, or she knows how to do the research to tell you what you need. And she even gave me like visa info and all this stuff. So she's the go-to. Definitely hit her up, sign up for a call with her. She's the bomb. Okay. So let's see. Do you recommend that people teach online in like a physical school in these different countries or both?
Okay, so this is going to depend on your preferences because I think some people do want to have that kind of digital nomad lifestyle where you're going from country to country every few months. And in that case, teaching English online is really nice because you can kind of keep your same students. You can, if you're a bit more adventurous and flexible, find shorter contracts in countries and go along, but it is going to be a little bit more difficult. But if you're really interested in learning a language or immersing yourself in a culture, then I would say definitely teach in that country. And then you can always supplement your income with online teaching or teaching private lessons. And this is especially important right now. So, something that happened to me in Australia is that I was working at a language school, and then the whole global situation happened, and they ended up closing a lot of the schools because our borders have been closed since March. So because of that, due to my visa, I wasn't able to get unemployment or anything like that. So I relied on online teaching to kind of keep me going. So I think it's really important nowadays to have a plan B because a lot of times when you're in another country, because of your visa status, you really can't rely on that country and you don't know what's going to happen to your job. But if you're working online, again, you're just always teaching your same students, so no problem there.
That's a really good point. And that's kind of funny you say that because usually people think of online teaching as like it's unstable, work for more than one
Yeah.
company. But also it's true that it's like if you also have that physical teaching job in country, which is such an awesome immersive experience. Yeah, having that backup of online teaching, it's always
Yeah.
like having both, it really adds to your stability because right, you never know what's going to happen. And nowadays too, if something happens, like you're not a citizen there. You are
Yeah.
not first
Like,
priority at all.
sorry.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's like a big, oops, sorry, can't help you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. What is your best tip for living and teaching overseas?
Oh, I don't think I have just one. I have three.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, the first one is definitely be flexible. So you never know what's going to happen with your visa. Maybe you get there. For example, I was supposed to stay with a host family in Egypt, and everything was set, good to go. I arrived and they said, "Oh, sorry, you can't stay there. Go find a place. Good luck." And so luckily I was able to find a place, but you have to be flexible. You can't just give up and go home.
Yeah.
Same with your schools. It may be a different culture. So I've had times where maybe my boss was, a bit confrontational, and I just kind of had to roll with it and just, yeah, be flexible. The
Yeah.
second tip is to learn a bit of the language. So, of course, you don't have to be completely fluent to move to another country, but it is helpful to know the basics. You're going to have a much better experience. You're going to be more comfortable and able to meet people a bit better if you do make that effort to learn some of the language.
Yeah.
And my third tip, let me think. Oh, yes. My third tip is to get a TEFL certificate. So I didn't get my TEFL certificate until I had been teaching for like 7 years, because I was a certified teacher in the US. So I was able to use that in different countries until I got to Australia. And they said, okay, we don't care that you have a master's in education. We need a TEFL. So I had to do a TEFL course. I did the CELTA course here, and then I was able to work as a teacher. So get it done now, get it over with, and then you won't face any roadblocks as you go.
Do you have a couple blog posts on like TEFLs you recommend, right?
Yeah, I would say if you're super serious about doing teaching English, the CELTA is a very good one to do. It's more on the expensive side. So there are different TEFLs that you can do. You're going to need a different one for online teaching versus teaching abroad. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can always let me know and I can kind of clarify that for you.
Yeah. The TESL from the International Open Academy, not gonna cut it. But definitely works for online teaching.
Online teaching,
yeah. Online teaching, it comes in clutch. Other types of, they probably don't accept it. Yeah. Jamie, what is the key to saving money / not being broke while teaching and traveling?
Yeah, this is a question that I get all of the time, because people, of course, see me traveling and, oh, I'm in Indonesia, I'm in Egypt, I'm in Spain. And they're like, what in the world? Like, how do you do this? Well, there are a few tricks to this. So if you're still paying maybe student loans, or you're paying off something in your home country, then definitely look for programs that have higher pay and higher benefits. So that's going to look like South Korea, Japan, and the Middle East are some of the top destinations, because they're going to offer you flights, they're going to offer you different bonuses and accommodation, things like that. Whereas if you're teaching in Spain, you pretty much have to pay for your flight, pay for your accommodation. Health insurance is usually included, but that's about the only benefit you're going to get. So you really need to think of what's your budget situation and where should you go, kind of based on that. If you're okay with kind of traveling around and maybe you don't have loans or things like that to pay off, then teach private lessons and teach online. That's pretty much how I fund all my travel. So I get my salary from teaching at the school, but then any extra money, I kind of use that as my travel fund, and that's how I get to explore. But also, traveling in different countries can be very, very inexpensive. So flights around Europe, they have a lot of deals, and traveling in South America in general isn't very expensive. So yeah, you can really kind of budget it, but online teaching is great for supplementing your income.
It is great. That's a good point too. Like looking at countries that have higher pay, or I think too, you can kind of reverse that as well, where like you live in a country where the cost of living is really low. Like for me, living in Vietnam, I was able to, some months I was making a very small amount of money through just
Yeah.
like before I was really referring, just online teaching. And I was living large still. Like I had a nice, clean, fully furnished apartment with a maid every week. And I could, go out to eat every day if I wanted. So, that's the other flip side too. You find places where your money's going to take you a little bit farther.
Yeah, I think it's nothing new. That's why people retire to places like Thailand, and it's like it's beautiful and you can afford it. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you're a bit adventurous and flexible, you can totally make it work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. To like the hordes of like, there was those like retiree bars in Thailand.
Yeah.
There's always like a really creepy air to it. I'm like, oh, avoid at all costs. If you've been to Thailand, you know what we're talking about. Okay. Moving on. All right. So you've been able to, when we first met, you were building up your blog, which you still have, and now your YouTube channel is really blowing up. It's been so awesome to watch. What is your advice for somebody wanting to start a blog or a YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I actually had a travel blog like a long time ago, and now I have my teaching blog. And the idea behind both of those is so that I can share the knowledge that I have with people and that people can learn from my mistakes. Again, the YouTube channel really connects with my blog, so same kind of idea, but I think it's a great place where you can share your experience and your mistakes. So people can maybe make decisions on I should do this or I shouldn't do that or I should watch out for this based on what you have to say. But it's really important to talk to your readers and see what their questions are. So I have a Facebook group where I ask them, what are you struggling with and what places do you want to visit? So I'm making sure that I'm putting out content that people actually want to read. So if I put out content for some country but no one wants to go there, it doesn't really serve a purpose. So always keep your customer in mind and just try and help someone. And it's really rewarding at the end of the day if that's what you build your brand on.
Yeah, and that's something I love seeing when we would meet about when were building up your YouTube channel more, and it was like really honing in on that one person that you wanted to help.
Yeah.
And now before we started recording, we were just talking about how like Jamie's getting more and more clients and like are people interested in a program that really fit her ICA or ideal client avatar, and it's so cool to watch because your content is so solid and it's giving people those tips and advice or like sometimes things that you did wrong that you can teach people not to do wrong, like you were saying. And but really like with with a service mindset, right? How can I serve others? Not how can I just like self-promote myself? It's not like, oh, look at all these countries I've been. It's just you really like are obsessed with showing people that they can live this life that you've been able to live, right? It's not just for people who have millions of dollars. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too. I've had a lot of people contact me that have kids or they're married and they want to go abroad with their family. And I think that's such an amazing way to raise your kids or to experience
Yeah.
something with your partner. So don't let that stop you, even though it may be more challenging and it will take a bit longer to find a position. It's not something that they're just going to say, nope, sorry. You can totally do it.
Yeah, actually, that's funny. Another one of my clients, I think you guys have connected too. Rochelle, she traveled for a while with her and her son, and they did
Yeah.
these trips. And I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. She's also in Australia.
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. All right, cool. So this has been really, really interesting and helpful. And I think inspiring for people to be like, I can do this. I can get out there, and all of these resources are available to you. And there's loads of different programs that you can look into. And again, Jamie, use her as a resource, hit her up. She takes clients too. If you want someone to hold your hand that first time getting out there, it's really nice to have an advocate that has done it before you. To end, let's talk a little bit about what is your life motto?
Okay, so definitely like you're going to encounter challenges, but don't let them stop you. So I'll give you an example. I got a grant from my college to go abroad for the summer to volunteer. And I found a position in Peru and it sounded fantastic. But then I actually ended up having a bit of a medical emergency and I had to switch my country in like a week because I needed somewhere where I could get weekly blood tests to make sure that my levels were okay. And you just kind of got to face that challenge. And I ended up going to Costa Rica and then going back there summer after summer and really getting to know my host family and the culture and just absolutely falling in love with Costa Rica. So you never know what's going to come out from that challenge. But yes, it's going to be difficult. There's going to be frustration and probably some tears, but you just got to keep going and you never know what's waiting for you on the other side.
Yes, I love that. That's so true with travel. Nothing ever goes as planned. So
Nope.
know that and then roll with it and know like, ooh, oh, that hotel booked out. I can't stay there. That Airbnb, right? I'm here now. And then you meet like the most amazing person who runs it. And then that becomes like a connection that you have forever. It's serendipitous, right?
Yeah.
If you succumb to it, right? I don't know if that's the right word. You like
don't resist.
yeah, don't resist. Do you have a favorite travel book that's like where you like the adventure? I know a lot of people are like The Alchemist, or do you have a book where you like when you think of something to like inspire people that like, inspired you before you started traveling?
That's a good question. I know people always say like Eat, Pray, Love. That's always like the
Have you read that book?
Yeah.
Is it good? I've actually never read it.
Yeah, Get Out of There book. But I would actually say maybe one book that really I loved when I was younger and is a bit about traveling is called Walk Two Moons. And it's a bit of a mystery and it's a bit sad, but I try to reread it every year because it does have that aspect of traveling and kind of facing your fears and everything, which is a big part of travel as well. So
I think I need to read that right now. I think I'm gonna read that this week. Because I was actually just texting Jamie before we met and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be getting my visa to Bali and I'm scared because I haven't traveled in a long time, especially alone. And so I feel like in this very vulnerable situation of like, actually, I don't know that many people in Bali and I've never been there before. It's not like going back to Vietnam where I'm like, oh, when I go there, it's like home. I feel more comfortable there than in the States. And so for me, it's been this big thing. And so it always, I'm going to read that book because sometimes books are like, I found are like catalysts for people to be like, okay, I can do it. Because it is scary. And I think for people like you, maybe, you're such a veteran to it all that it gets less scary. But for people like even me, who's traveled a lot, getting back out there is scary. So we feel you. But yeah, gosh, it's so worth it if you do take the jump. So I'm telling that to myself. It's so worth it if you take the jump.
Yeah. You just have to anticipate that fear and frustration and confusion. It's going to be part of it, but that's what makes us grow. That's what challenges us. You're not just every day, same routine. Each day when you're in another country is something brand new. Going into a supermarket, you've never seen these products before. You don't know what you're buying. It's just everything is new. And that's why I really do enjoy moving around and experiencing different places because I can't stay put in one place. It's too much.
Yes. Okay, I think people will be really interested to know what you think are the top programs internationally to teach English with.
Well, definitely there's a lot of language assistant programs that are really great for if you're just starting out teaching abroad, or maybe you really have a specific country in mind. So the ones that I can think of that are some of the most popular are the JET program in Japan, EPIC in South Korea, and then there's one in Spain called Auxiliares de Conversación, or the North American Cultural and Language Assistant Program. It's got a long name, but people just call it the Auxiliares program or AUX program. And if you do speak French, there's a French version of a language assistant program called TAPIF, but that one does have a language requirement of intermediate French. So those are some of the most popular ones that are pretty accessible, especially for Americans.
Perfect. Awesome. That's really helpful. So if you want to learn more about those programs, Jamie has videos on those. And she also has a really helpful video for programs where you don't need a degree. So those ones she was saying you do, but she has a video which explained a bunch of programs if you don't, because even if you don't have a degree, you can still teach and travel quite easily.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you have your TEFL. If you don't have a degree, you definitely need a TEFL to teach abroad.
Ooh, good tip. And you also have a video about that, right?
Yeah.
She got all the videos over there. Okay, so go hit her up. Okay, well, Jamie, I so appreciate you being on here today. I'm so proud of your channel and watching it grow. Go hit her up, learn all of her tips and tricks. Jamie, any final thoughts?
Yeah, if you have any like country in mind, just let me know. I'm always looking to help people get abroad, and I do love a bit of a challenge. So if you're looking for a specific country, let's see if we can get you there.
Ooh, all right, Tonga, let's go. All right, everybody, we will see you next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.